So there's this provocative new report making waves, and it has one single, really radical explanation for pretty much all the crises we see unfolding around us. It argues we're not just dealing with bad politics or a shaky economy. No, we're in a head-on collision with the laws of physics. Let's break down what this report calls the Fission Epoch.
I mean, you've probably felt this, right? It seems like everything, from our political systems to the global economy, even the very information we see online, it all just feels like it's fraying at the edges, and fast. Well, this report says that's not just a feeling. It's a real, measurable thing that's happening.
And the explanation it offers has nothing to do with any one politician or any single bad decision. It's about a universal force, something that applies to everything from the stars in the sky to human society itself.
Okay, so the key concept here is entropy. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Imagine civilization is this huge, intricate sandcastle. It takes a ton of energy to build it, and even more energy to constantly patch it up and stop the tide of chaos from washing it all away. The report's central argument is that we are simply running out of the cheap, easy energy required to hold our global sandcastle together.
So let's look at the first big symptom of this breakdown. Our entire global system is becoming so complex, so interconnected, that the cost of just keeping it running is becoming unbearable.
You know, this has happened before. Think about the late Roman Empire. It got so huge that the cost of maintaining the roads and paying the legions was more than the empire could actually afford. The report says that's us right now. We're spending more and more money, time and energy just to keep the lights on and stop things from falling apart, which leaves almost nothing left over for actually moving forward.
And here is a number that shows just how little faith people have in the system. $5,000. In early 2026, the price of gold reportedly skyrocketed past that mark. The report argues this isn't just a market thing, it's a signal. It's people abandoning abstract digital money and fleeing to something physical, something real they can hold in their hand to protect themselves from the decay of the wider system.
Okay, now let's shift over to the economy because this breakdown is creating a totally new reality. The report has a name for it: techno-feudalism. This idea, which builds on the work of economist Yanis Varoufakis, is that capitalism as we knew it is over. We don't really live in a world of competitive markets anymore. We live in a world of digital fiefdoms. These are owned by just a handful of massive tech companies that don't just sell products, they own the entire digital space where business happens.
And you can see the shift right here. Under capitalism, the game was about making things and selling them for profit. Simple enough. In techno-feudalism, the game is about collecting rent. The most important asset isn't a factory anymore, it's what's called cloud capital, the platforms themselves. And in this new system, we've all been given new roles.
I mean, think about how this works. You have the cloud lords, like Amazon, who own the digital land. Then you have the vassal capitalists, all the third-party sellers on Amazon who have to pay a steep fee, a rent, just for the privilege of being there. And then there's us. We're the cloud serfs. We work the digital land for free, creating value with every click, every review, every piece of data, and all of that wealth flows straight up to the lords.
And the result of this new feudal system? An absolutely mind-blowing concentration of wealth. According to the 2026 data in the report, the top 10% of people on Earth now control 3/4 of everything. But honestly, the most shocking number is the one at the very bottom.
Just look at that tiny little sliver, 2%. That's the share of all global assets owned by the poorest half of humanity. That's 4 billion people. This isn't just inequality anymore. The report calls it a new digital aristocracy.
So this decay isn't just happening to our bank accounts. It's corroding something way more fundamental, our shared sense of reality, which, of course, brings us to the internet.
51%. That number is just wow. By 2026, more than half of all traffic on the internet is reportedly not human. It's generated by bots. We are now officially a minority on our own network.
You might have heard people talk about the dead internet theory. For a while, it sounded like a fringe conspiracy. Well, this report says it's no longer a theory. It's just a description of reality. The internet is not a town square or a global library anymore. It's more like a haunted house, filled with AI ghosts that churn out endless content designed to manipulate you, to sell to you, and to trick you.
The report highlights 3 key ways this is happening. First, deepfakes are being weaponized to create scandals out of thin air, especially in politics. Second, there's AI slop, this tidal wave of low-quality machine-made junk that's flooding search engines and burying real human knowledge. And third, in a really bizarre twist, AI is poisoning itself by training on its own garbage data. It's a process called model collapse, and it's making the AIs themselves less accurate and more biased over time.
So when our economy's broken and our information is corrupted, what happens to global politics? Well, it does exactly what you'd expect. It shatters.
The report shows how the old Western alliances are cracking from the inside out. In the United States, the idea of a national divorce is now mainstream. In Europe, the rise of parties like Germany's AfD is challenging the entire post-war consensus. And even an alliance like NATO is struggling to figure out its purpose in this new world.
And while the West is fracturing, global power is shifting in a big way. Just look at these projections. The BRICS nations are predicted to grow more than 3 times faster than the old G7 economies. The economic engine of the planet is moving south and east.
So, this isn't the end of globalization. The report calls it a re-globalization. The world is reorganizing itself into separate, competing spheres of influence. We're seeing the rise of the splinternet, where the single global internet is dying, replaced by walled-off American, Chinese, and European internets that don't talk to each other.
And all of this leads to the report's very stark conclusion. Humanity isn't just going through a tough time. We are in a phase transition. That's a term from physics. It's like when water hits its boiling point. It stops being liquid and it's about to become something entirely new, steam. The old global order is dissolving, and what comes next is very much up for grabs.
The report lays out 2 possible futures. One path leads down into a digital dark age, a future of fragmentation, constant conflict, and control by algorithms we can't see or understand. The other path, well, it's a lot harder. It would take a massive global effort to consciously build a new kind of civilization, one based on real cooperation, smart AI governance, and a shared respect for reality and for the planet.
And that really is the final question the report leaves us with. In a world that is naturally pulling itself toward chaos, driven by these incredibly powerful forces, where do we find the energy, the social, the political, the human energy to fight that tide and start building something new and better?